Jipa, right? They are one of our elder community leaders here. Both of them are physicists. Professor Sudarshan is the best physicist India has produced in recent times, and many of his people who got Nobel Prizes have been his followers, I would say. So he is a recipient of the Padma Bhushan and Padma Vibhushan awards. So like I said, we are in the presence of great scientists, and so it's our great honor to have him. And we requested him to speak a little bit about Sanskritam, Vedanta and physics as such, so that we get to know the depth of the knowledge of the Indian tradition, right? So, Professor.
Thank you. Whatever I could speak in Sanskrit, I have forgotten now. So, I am a scientist, I am a physicist. Physics is the science of measurement, and we deal with the world around us. However, there are some of us who are lazy, and therefore we like other people to do the measurements, and then we talk about it. So theoretical physics therefore deals with whatever happens and tries to see whether it will fit with the general scheme of things. And some of the time we say things which sound completely nonsense, but we know that that's not so. For example, we say that you cannot measure a particle, both its position and its momentum. There is an ultimate limit, however smart you are. It's called the principle of uncertainty. It's not a principle of uncertainty, it's a principle of certainty that you cannot make the decision any better. And even now there are people who say, oh, something is wrong with the quantum physics because you have this principle of uncertainty, and it's in a real scientific theory, how could things be uncertain? But these are things which appear to be contrary to common sense, but turn out to be quite appropriate and has a very sound theoretical basis. And then one asks the question, what convinced us that everything must be very certain? And the statement is that, yeah, but everybody knows that if you want to measure the position of something, then you use a ruler of some kind. If you want to find the position, momentum of something, the velocity of something, then you can look at the thing as a function of time. And therefore these are all measurable things, and therefore there is no mystery about it. But then you find that that's not quite true. That was true about many things, but we could say where a particular train had crossed the tracks, the time when a bus has arrived or left a particular place, but you cannot quite be sure about these things for more elementary objects. And if you look more elementary objects, then you find that in fact our previous assumptions about things being definite and certain were really based on ordinary things, and therefore we simply generalized it and then said it must be true for everything. The same is true about our knowledge about the world as a whole. Everybody knows that, you know, it's a real world and we know everything about it, and people in the Supreme Court who sit and then decide whether we can decide and we cannot decide. But in fact, we know that when we look at ourselves, we find that there are many times when we are not certain about something. And one of the advantages of being a scientist is that every now and then you make discoveries which astound you. And you say, you mean I did it? Because you cannot quite imagine how you could have thought about it. This is not a rare appearance. Only thing is that it becomes rare when everybody else says, oh, what a wonderful person you are. But about the nature of things, we suspect that we are subject to all the laws of biology and physics and physiology, and therefore we know everything about ourselves, except that every now and then we don't know how we find. Especially when you make a discovery. Discoveries are always discoveries, and there was something which was covered up and you had opened it up. How did you open it up? No, nobody knows. So, we can ask the same question about ourselves. What is it that we know? We know that we are very important people. We can walk, we can run, we can talk, we can make the whole world dependent on our words. But nevertheless, there are times when we know that we don't really know. What are we thinking and where does the thought come from? And usually you say, oh, thought comes from here or here, someplace. But you don't really know where it comes from. And every now and then you have some learned television program which says that how the brain is connected to this and that is connected to that, and therefore it happens. But it still does not tell you how does it happen. And also we don't want to think that we are such complicated objects that it depends upon lots of neurons and little fibers and so on, so that we think. We think noble thoughts, and really we think they are our thoughts. Question is, where does the thought come from? Well, that's an interesting question. We don't really know where the thoughts come from. In fact, all the worthwhile thoughts come when you least expect it and least ask for it. It comes by itself. Where does it come from? That's a meaningless question. It's like saying, where is space? Space is all around you. We are in the space. Nevertheless, we don't really know what space is, but we talk about it as if we know. We talk about space travel, space mysteries and so on. But that does not tell you what space is. There was a Greek philosopher by name Zeno. Zeno had thought, he must have been a theoretical physicist because he didn't do any work. He just thought about it. And he tried to find out, how does the body start moving? And he said, that is a very interesting question, because the body cannot move where it is, because then it's not moving. And how can it move to where it is not? So he proved to his satisfaction that motion is impossible. This is Zeno's paradox. We know that that's not quite true, because we do, every now and then we do move. So we ask the question, where does thought come from? And the answer is, we don't really know. When the thought is something that other people appreciate, we say, oh, yes. Or as the Aggie said, kidneys. But it is not necessarily true. We don't know where it comes from. This is simply a statement about some part of your body, but does it come from your body, or is it outside the body? How could your body think it can? The stomach can gurgle, the lungs can breathe in and out, and we can sneeze, but how can the body think? And we don't know how the body thinks.